Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined today by Michelle Clemons in Joplin, Missouri. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, Michelle joined the Platform Marketing family about 5 months ago. So, we're recording this right now in September of 2023. She signed up in April. So, in April is when she started the Platform Marketing program, again, about 5 months in. And Michelle has some really cool success stories to share. But first, a little bit of context. Michelle was a school teacher in the Joplin area, actually for about 30 years. She retired from that career and went into real estate about 10 years ago. So she's not a brand new agent. She's actually a very experienced agent. But one thing that's happened just, this spring, summer, she started to notice that a lot more people are recognizing her, seeing her out in public. They know she's in real estate. They know she's a realtor now. So, Michelle, would you just mind sharing right away some of the earliest victories and kind of wins that you've had so far with the platform marketing strategy?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, my first closing that I had with Platform was like 1 month after I started, which is pretty phenomenal, I know.
Wow.
But yeah, so what happened was I used to teach the classes that the state requires for people to get their real estate license. I did that for 3.5 years. One of those students went ahead and got licensed, but then put their license as inactive. They saw me on Facebook and then referred their son and daughter-in-law to me. And so this was somebody that already had knowledge of me, but the funny thing is that they are also, their license is being held by the same company that I work for. And my broker said, well, why didn't they just call me? Well, because I was top of mind. She saw me. She said, oh, yeah, I know her. And so she called me. And so we got that deal done just very quickly, which was quite remarkable, apparently, according to how the platform
Yeah,
system
that
works.
that normally doesn't happen where you sign up and a month later you're already closing a deal from the marketing. That's definitely pretty exceptional in the literal sense of the exception to the rule.
Right. So I've had that. Right now, I have 7 under contract. 5 of them are platform people.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yes, another one. I just got a new listing yesterday, and that's somebody who I knew outside of real estate, but they see my ads. And so I was top of mind. In fact, yesterday, whenever I asked her, why did you decide to choose me? I know you know a lot of real estate agents. And she said, oh, yeah. And everybody at work's been telling me, use this person, use that person. And I told them, no, I already have my agent. She's, a Christian like I am. Plus, I know what she does and I know her. And this isn't somebody that I've had any kind of conversation with outside of where I regularly see her. So it wasn't like we were friends or we texted or talked or
Sure.
anything like that. I've had another where very early on, a lady saw my ads on Facebook and told her daughter, who was moving from Washington, her daughter and her family, that, oh, you have to use Michelle when you move back here. And it's all calling people and calling those leads. And I know I hear that all the time on the Platform Family Facebook group, but it's true. So by calling that lady and talking to her, and she said, oh, yeah, my daughter's going to use you. She should be reaching out to you soon. Well, about a month and a half later, I got a message from, through Messenger from her, and we've got her under contract. I showed her and her husband multiple homes, got her under contract on a new construction over $500,000. And in our market, 250, 280 is average. I mean, 280 would be high average. So it's the most expensive property I've ever had under contract. So it's pretty exciting. It just what platform has done for my business. I have 1.6 million in volume under contract right now that are platform or directly related. You talk about the fuzzy ROI.
Yeah.
At first I thought, I don't know if I like that or not, but I get it. I get it now.
Now it makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. It
Yep.
certainly does.
So I think the most impressive thing of what you just said there, and there were a lot of impressive things you just said, is that you currently have about 7 deals under contract, and 5 of them you can actually directly or indirectly trace back to platform. So in other words, you would actually only have 2 deals right now under contract were it not for platform, and you'd kind of be heading into the fall winter here with a fairly pessimistic vibe, I would say, because it's obviously not an awesome year in the real estate market overall. It's not 2018, 2019 anymore. We're kind of dealing with these really high interest rates. Not a lot of people want to move. People don't want to move, off of a 3% mortgage and have to buy a new house and have a 7% mortgage. So it's been a tough year for real estate agents. And yet you're rolling into the slower month of the year. I know obviously you guys have 4 seasons in Missouri. So you're heading into the colder weather, the winter, with 7 deals under contract right now, 5 of them that you can track back to platform. So you know that it's working.
I do.
With that benefit of hindsight, Michelle, how would you describe what the platform marketing strategy is, maybe to a realtor who's listening to this podcast but hasn't yet done their research? They haven't signed up for platform. They're kind of just seeing, what is this platform marketing thing? Now that you've been in the platform marketing program for about 5 months, how would you describe what platform marketing is to another agent who was asking about it?
I would just tell them that platform marketing gets you in front of people in a way that's very engaging. I had done Facebook marketing before, but not like this. As far as the ads that you post don't look like ads, the interaction and the engagement that I get is just amazing. I did have one of my posts go viral. It had over 1 million people who saw it and 143,000
I actually saw that. That was pretty crazy.
It was, and that was because a local business person liked it and shared it, and that's what really caught on. It's just like I said, it just helps you engage with people in a way that I just wouldn't have done before. I'm always the person behind the camera, not in front of the camera. So it was just a little intimidating to me to have my picture on Facebook. And, in fact, one of my kids sent me a text yesterday and said, "I'm so proud of you. I know how private you are, and I know how you don't want to be in front of the camera, and yet you're killing it." So
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
But it
And
just,
obviously you are, if you have that many deals under contract, or you're closing homes that are basically double the median price point in your area. I'm really excited about that one, Michelle, because the cool thing is when you pick up clients that are in those higher price ranges, the thing is, if they like you, they're going to refer their friends and colleagues in their sphere to you. And typically, all things being equal, people's friends are usually in their same kind of socioeconomic class, I guess. So people that,
exactly.
Live in $500,000 homes, typically their friends live in $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes. So the type of people, the type of referrals you're going to get from that client in the future are going to be higher priced referrals as well. So that's super awesome that you're bringing those people into your marketing sphere as well.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting.
What ad do you think that you've done so far, whether it was a photo or a video, has had like the biggest response in engagement in your community in Joplin, Missouri? What ad have you done so far that has had the most people actually tell you in real life, like, "Hey, Michelle, I saw that ad. That was so cool"?
I have people tell me, "I see you on Facebook all the time." I had a lady at church say, "You're all over my Facebook." But as far as a specific ad, probably the "So God Made a Small Business Owner." That's probably the one
Okay.
that really resonates with people, that they really feel a connection to, because they see businesses in that video, that they patronize, that they go to. And so that's probably the one. And then there was another one where I just did a small business highlight of a pizza place in town, a locally owned pizza place. And that received a lot of engagement. And the pizza business really did see an uptick in their business after that post, which I thought was great, because that's kind of the goal, is to help each other.
Yep, that's a win-win. As a real estate agent, if you create content and promote local businesses, local restaurants, you're actually accomplishing a couple really cool things from a marketing perspective. First, your ads don't look like ads. Because if you're just talking about a local pizzeria and why you love this local pizza place, and you're not talking about, Michelle Clemons, the realtor, people drop their guard. They don't psychologically or emotionally realize that they're being advertised to. So they're a lot more open. They're a lot more likely to watch that video because it just doesn't feel like an ad. And then as a result of that, if you're the one constantly out and about promoting your community, promoting the local small business scene, helping to bring extra attention to restaurants and hopefully increase their business, as you mentioned, you kind of cultivate this reputation as being the local expert, right? Like you're not just a real estate agent, you're an expert on the overall community who just happens to be a real estate agent, right? And I think that's the ultimate long-term positioning if you're a realtor, is that people actually look up to you as being an advocate and a champion of the community. And oh, by the way, I sell real estate.
I agree with that 100%. And there's so many marketing opportunities that are out there for real estate agents to do exactly what you said, to be the local expert, yet they don't have the multi-layer way of doing that platform does, with the retargeting audience, with the CRM, and being able to have that contact information with the people who do engage with the posts. In 5 months, I have over 500 contacts in my database from platform, and I have called every one of them. And I think that that's really key, is to call people, talk to them, text them, follow up. It just makes people think you care about them, and which I do, and not care about business. And I think that's a huge difference in what people like to see versus what they do see.
Yeah, there's kind of like two polar opposites of a strategies that a real estate agent can pursue if they're trying to get leads, trying to build their brand in an area. And I think people often do one of these two polar opposites, but they both really are limited. They don't really work because they're missing the other part, kind of this yin and yang. The first thing agents might do is they might just buy leads from Realtor.com or buy leads from Zillow, right? And you're not really building any local brand there. You're just getting leads, right? So that might get some short-term leads, I guess, but at the expense of you're not really building a brand. You're not really working your sphere. People aren't going to remember you long-term. As soon as you stop paying Zillow, the leads stop, right? So it's a very temporary, right now focused strategy at the expense of your long-term brand, if all you're doing is buying leads, right? But on the other side, the complete opposite strategy of that is someone might get excited about local content marketing, and maybe they start filming videos and they upload them to YouTube, or they post some social media posts on Facebook, but it's not really linked to any sort of actual lead generation strategy, anything that's actually getting homeowners and home buyers to click your ads, request more information, give you their contact information, So you end up uploading random videos to YouTube or posting on Facebook, and then it's just crickets. You're not getting any engagement. You're not getting leads. You're spending all this time on marketing, but it's not really bringing in any business. There's not a return on investment of your time. And I think what platform does so well is that it combines both of those two things, both the lead generation and the branding combined into one, in kind of this 1 + 1 = 3, where you're getting the best of both worlds. And that's why we have success stories like you, Michelle, where you followed the recipe, you followed the plan, you listened to what Diana, your platform account manager, told you to do. And by the way, I should mention that Diana brags about you all the time to our team.
Oh.
That's why you're on the podcast. It's like every week Diana is bragging about how awesome Michelle is, how awesome Michelle is doing. She tells our team. And so I think that's a huge part of your success as well, is that you actually listen to what Diana tells you to do. Some people might sign up and they don't want to do this. They're too nervous to do this. And so we give them some marketing homework, some assignments, but they only do half of it, right? And I think, to your credit, part of the reason you've succeeded so much so far, even in your first 5 months of platform, is that I think every single marketing homework assignment that we've given you, you've done it. And that probably is because you used to be a teacher apparently for 30 years. So you're used to doing homework. But that's to your credit that you've done everything that we've asked you to do. And that's why you're seeing the results that you're seeing.
And that also gives me encouragement to continue. There's one thing that Diana wants me to do that I have not done yet because the opportunity hadn't presented itself. But, the jumping in the pool for the opening of a listing video. And I was like, well, it's been a long time since I've jumped in a pool, but I'll do it. But I just have to find the right opportunity. So some of the things I've been very hesitant to do, but my thought is in teaching, whenever we would adopt certain programs and that kind of thing, I would tell people, tell other teachers, we can't say that we're going to use this program and only use part of it and then say it doesn't work. That's not fair. And so the same strategy applies to this. We can't say we're going to do this, but only cherry pick the parts we like and not do the parts that are a little outside of our comfort zone and then say, well, it just doesn't work. Well, it does if you work it, it works.
Yeah, we always say platform works if you do. Because as you put it really well there, some people get uncomfortable with calling the leads. So they're like, I'll film all the videos, I'll do all the marketing content, but I don't want to call leads. That's too awkward, right? Or sometimes people are willing to follow up with leads, but they're so nervous or so shy about getting on camera, they never create content, they never film videos. And so you have to do both of them. It's like if you want to get in better shape, you have to diet, watch what you eat, and you have to exercise. If you exercise a bunch, but you continue eating a lot, you're probably not going to lose weight. You have to do both of them. And so again, I think you put it really, really well there that you can't cherry pick which parts you most like doing and then ignore the other parts. You have to follow up with the leads. You have to do your marketing homework. You have to film the videos, create the content that we asked you to do. Obviously, for those listening, platform edits your videos. All you have to do is film the raw footage and take some photos, and we handle all of it from there. So we are editing Michelle's videos. We launch the ads. It's not like Michelle has to be an expert on Facebook ads or video editing. We are handling that on the back end as part of the platform marketing program. But Michelle still has to go out and film the video content, right? We don't have platform employees in Joplin that are out there filming videos with you. You have to go film the videos and create the content so that we have some footage to work with for these ad campaigns. But again, you are proof that if you just do that marketing homework, the strategy works.
Absolutely. Another thing I found very helpful was to have the scripts that platform provides for calling people. I don't really have problem calling people or talking to people, but the platform way was very different than what I usually would do. And Diana said, call. If they don't answer, call back in 5 seconds. If they don't answer, send a text. And of course, there's scripts that tell you what to do. She said, don't leave a message. What? I always leave a message. What do you mean don't leave a message? She said, no, don't leave a message. If they don't answer the second time, then send a text. Well, I trusted her. As you can see, my demographic is probably not the normal home buying demographic. So she knows, and platform knows through research what works with the demographic that's buying houses. And that's the younger people, younger than me. So I did that. Very uncomfortable for me to call and hang up and not leave a message, because in my generation, that would be considered rude. That's not the case now.
Sure.
So I did that and, text people, and I've got my scripts on a clipboard right in front of me. So when I make my calls, it's just right there. And by now I don't have to refer to it anymore. But at the beginning, it was so different than what I was used to doing. I definitely relied heavily on those scripts, which again, just to have that support and that scaffolding to say, okay, this is the way that our research shows is the most effective. And then trusting that instead, because that was probably the first thing that was the most uncomfortable for me to do, which seems so silly now, but just to call and not leave a message.
That's why we've structured platform that way, that it's kind of like it's an ad agency and it's kind of a marketing coaching program. Because if all we did was run your ads, And then we got you a bunch of leads every month, and we're just like, well, Michelle, have fun following up with these people. And we don't give you any coaching or context on that. I think you'd get a lot different results than if we take a more proactive approach in coaching you and giving you scripts and kind of training you how to follow up with these leads. So I'll just share some context here for those listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube, that when we say, hey, call twice and don't leave a message if they don't answer, the reason is that most people today, if they get a phone call from a number they don't recognize, just instinctively, they don't answer. Now, maybe you're a realtor, so realtors are used to answering the phone if a stranger calls, because you never know if it's a warm lead or someone inquiring about a listing or a potential listing opportunity. So you are kind of trained to answer your phone, but the average person does not. Most people, if they get a phone call from a number they don't recognize, will not answer the phone. So what we do is we say, hey, if they don't answer, that's fine. Do not leave a voicemail, because the voicemail kind of gives away that you're a realtor calling to follow up, right? We kind of want to use the element of surprise where we get them on the phone and they don't maybe realize that it was a real estate agent calling to follow up. So you wait 5 seconds, call the same number again, because what happens is if they see a second call coming in from that number, they kind of stop and think, wait, am I expecting a call from anyone? Is this important? Because usually people don't call you twice in a matter of 10 seconds, right? And so we're kind of just sparking enough doubt of like, I wonder if this is important. I wonder if someone's trying to get a hold of me and I just don't recognize the number. That often they don't answer the first time, but they will answer the phone the second time. And when Michelle talks about scripts too, I want to be very, very clear that these aren't like super salesy scripts where we're handling objections and we're trying to get people to agree to meet. You know, we're not using any high pressure sales tactics in these phone scripts. Actually, when Michelle talks about having to kind of relearn these scripts and how to do phone call follow-up the platform way, I think what you're actually referencing, Michelle, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think what you're referencing is that we were trying to retrain you to actually be much more casual and not ask any qualifying questions right away. Like when you call them, you're not asking about their budget right away. You're not asking if there's a particular home they want to look at. You're not asking if they're already pre-approved for a mortgage or anything like that. You're kind of just trying to build rapport, asking very indirect questions early on, like, hey, how long have you lived here in Joplin? Or have you seen me on Facebook? You're just asking questions that build rapport, that show that you care. Then later on, you can get into business and details. But for sure, if you're on the phone, the first 30 seconds to minute of the call should never be discussing stuff like their timeline or budget or the house, because that just proves that you're a salesperson when you do that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. The script that I use the most is whenever people, I get them in the CRM because they have requested a homes list that's been on there. And so that gives just a natural conversation of, hey, I see that you asked for a list of homes on land in the Joplin area. Just wanted to check, did you get my email with the link to that list? And that usually opens up a conversation that, like that's the script. It's not anything like what we've ever been trained before in the traditional real estate, script training, as you say.
Yeah. All you're trying to do is call and follow up and say, hey, I just sent you a link of some homes. I'm just calling to confirm, did you get the link? Did the link work for you? I just want to make sure it didn't go to your spam.
Yes.
And that's all you say. And then usually people are happy to tell you, oh yeah, I got the link, thanks, right?
Sometimes they say no, and I say, well, let's see what email address that went to. And then I say, oh, it went to this email address. They say, oh yeah, I don't use that one anymore. Do you have a better one I can use? And they'll give it to me every time. So because I'm approaching them in a situation or a frame of mind or attitude of, I want to help you. And it's very, like you said, very different than what real estate agents are trained.
Yeah, it's very casual. You're not trying to trick them. You're not trying to set an appointment using really sneaky language or high pressure psychology. You're honestly just calling to follow up and say, hey, I wanted to make sure that you got that link that you signed up for from this Facebook post. I just wanted to call and make sure that you got the link. And then the conversation usually just kind of goes from there. It takes on a life of its own. Some people will end up talking to you for 5 minutes and they'll tell you everything. Other people might hang up and you only talk to them for 30 seconds. But the point is they will remember that you called, because keep in mind that person will start seeing all of your retargeting ads over the next 6 months. And so now they actually know you're a real human being because you called and talked to them, even if it was only for 30 seconds, right? It's the cumulative effect of having you call, hearing your voice, knowing that you're a real human being, and then they start seeing all these retargeting ads pop up on Instagram and Facebook, photos and videos, where they feel like they're getting to know Michelle over the next 6 months. That's when the magic really starts happening. And honestly, Michelle, that's why I'm so excited for you, because if you've already seen that happen and you're only 5 months into platform, imagine where your business is going to be in another 6 months once you've been at this for almost a full year, and you've let that snowball keep rolling and compound and compound. I think you'll be in a really awesome spot in your business next spring.
I'm really excited for that. It's been great so far, and I really expect it to just continue to grow, and, just following up with people and just sending the custom list. Diana has given me ideas. Of course, part of the script again is asking people to send a list specifically that focuses on what they're looking for, and just go into that conversation. I probably have, I don't know, I haven't looked lately, but probably 80 people getting custom searches from me as well that I've set up on that. Yeah. And so then that gives me more touch points with people who are opening those emails, and to just touch base with them and say, hey, this is the criteria we set up a few months ago. Does that still work for you? The weekly meetings with Diana are also just so powerful and so helpful. That's another component of platform that I find very, very helpful.
Yeah. When you sign up with Realtor.com or Zillow, or, frankly, even other companies like Curator, Ylopo, etc., you're just turning on some PPC campaigns and then you basically never hear from them again. We are taking time to actually assign a dedicated marketing account manager to all of our realtors at platform, where you're talking to that person probably on the phone every week. And we actually get to know you, and we strategize together, and there's coaching that happens, and we give you marketing homework. And I think having that human account manager, it's not software, it's not AI, it's a human that talks to you every week. That's a huge part of what makes this marketing recipe successful, because at the end of the day, humans are humans. You can't automate everything. Part of it's accountability too, because if Diana has assigned you some marketing homework and you have a call next week, you want to feel like you're living up to the expectations that, hey, I'm going to get my homework done. I'm not going to show up to the next call without having done the things that you asked me to do. Without those calls and that structure of accountability, I think most of us would not be creating the amount of content and the sheer volume of marketing campaigns that we put out, because at least part of it is you want to make sure that you're keeping your honor and keeping your word with Diana. Hey, if I said I'm going to do this, I'm going to go do it.
That's very true.
And she's great too. I love Diana. You're really lucky to be working with her.
I feel the same way. I really do love her. She's amazing.
Yep. So I'm going to dive into some specifics here, Michelle, if that's okay. I wanted to ask you, do you know what your monthly ads budget is? Like, how much are you actually spending on the social media ads?
Yes, $700 a month.
$700 a month. Okay. And you've been going for about 5 months now, and you said that you follow up with your leads pretty religiously. When leads come in, you are calling them, you are following up with them?
Yes.
Okay. I think that
takes a few days before I can get to them, because I'm one person with no assistant. And so when I'm out showing and doing paperwork and that kind of thing, of course, that takes precedent over calling. I have to take care of what I have under contract first. And then the days run out, time goes fast. But yes, I do call everybody. Like I said, it
Awesome.
may be a few days back, but I do everybody.
And I think that's really important, because there's some people who spend even more on the ads every month. They might be spending $1,000 or $1,200. But if I were to ask them, are you actually following up with your leads? Are you actually calling every person and making an attempt to follow up? They're like, No. And kind of what's happening at a macro level is I think they're trying to buy their way out of doing uncomfortable things. And they think rather than maybe spending a little bit less, but making sure that I'm diligent and following up with all the leads, I'm just going to spend more on ads and bring in more total leads, but not follow up with them. And so I'm, trying to spend more on ads and buy my way out of doing the unpleasant things like actually taking time to follow up with all the leads. So that's actually really cool to hear you say that.
I can understand that because I would probably lean the other way personally, just on what I know about myself. I would rather call people and talk to them on the phone than film videos. But like I said, I've learned to be much more comfortable in front of the camera. I kind of arrived at the idea that the way I look and sound is not a surprise to anyone but me. This is what
Yeah.
everybody sees.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. It was the same thing when I started this podcast is once I heard the recording, like the first thing I said to my wife is like, oh my God, is that actually how I sound? And she's like, yeah, that's exactly how you sound. I'm like, oh man, and then when we started recording the podcast on video earlier this year, I'm like watching clips of it that our video editors would splice up, and I'm just like, is that actually what I look like when I'm talking? And it's like, yeah, that's what you look like. It's video, And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to get used to it then because that's what everyone else is seeing,
Exactly.
apparently. But yeah, I want to double click on what you said there, Michelle, that like you do both. I follow up with leads and I film the videos. I'm not like cherry picking one or the other because I think that's so important in the factors of what have made you successful is that you're not just creating a ton of content, nor are you just following up with leads hardcore and then not creating any content. You're doing both at the same time, and that's what creates the success. So you're spending $700 a month on ads. You're in Joplin, Missouri. How many people live in Joplin, just approximately?
50,000. We have a market area that's wider than that. My counties that I serve is Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties. Probably, I don't know, try to think of the number of people, 150,000, maybe
Something
more.
like that?
I mean,
Okay.
there might be more, maybe 200,000 in all three counties,
Yeah.
but it's not a big market at all.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's spread out.
a rural area, it's probably on the bubble of it's a big small town or a small big town, I've actually been to Joplin several times. It feels like a small town when you're there. You're not in a big city when you're in Joplin. But there's enough people there, obviously, where there's enough real estate transaction volume to make a good living, as a realtor. And obviously the stats that you've put up are proof of that. So what was your best year ever in real estate, Michelle? Like what was your GCI or what was your volume in your best year ever? I know you said you've been an agent for about 10 years now.
I have been. My best year was last year, and I sold 5 million in volume
Okay. What are you
in
hoping
30
you'll finish?
transactions. Like I said, our
Yep.
average price is not high compared
Yeah.
to the rest of the country.
What are you hoping to do this year in terms of volume or transactions?
I don't know. I always, when I first started, my goal was one a month. And then, of course, I suppressed that pretty fast. But, I thought with this year being a downturn year, my goal this year was 30 again, even though I didn't start till April. So when I set my goals for this year, everyone was saying, oh, expect a 20% drop in your business. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to still do 30 for this year, 30 transactions. And I'm well on pace to surpass that, which this would make this my best year ever.
What are you on track to do right now?
Well, I don't know because I just got several under contract over the weekend. I would say I probably have close to 30 in that are under contract or listings that I know will be under contract right now.
Oh, wow.
So, and here we still are in the third quarter.
Yeah. So you might end up closer to 40 this year.
I don't know I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
35 would be amazing, but 40 may be very doable.
Especially in a year like this. I mean, if you're surpassing what you did in previous years, that's really impressive. And I also want to draw some attention to that like ratio between how many transactions you're doing and the actual volume, because sometimes I think people listen to real estate marketing podcasts or they attend a coaching mastermind conference, whatever, and they hear about these agents that are doing insane volume, right? Like, oh, I sold whatever, 20 million or 30 million or 40 million last year. But then you find out that the person's in a market where every single home they sell is $1 million or $1.2 million. It's like, well, it's not that it's easy to be a real estate agent in those markets, because obviously there's a very high standard in those markets too of the level of professionalism that people expect on an agent selling $1 million house. So by no means am I saying it's easy to be a real estate agent in those markets. But I think it gives people perspective that, hey, like a person like Michelle in Joplin, she has to hustle and sell 30 homes a year to clear 5 million in volume, right? Where some other people might be able to hit 5 million in, 10 deals. And so to be able to put up this year in 2023 in such a down, frankly, frustrating market for realtors. This year has just been frustrating. If you're on pace to do 35, maybe even 40 deals this year, that's really, really impressive. Like really, really impressive. So Michelle, congrats to you, because obviously I'm the CEO of Platform. I always want to hear that it's working for people, but it's always really cool to talk to someone and have a conversation like this where you're only 5 months in, you only signed up in April, and you're already seeing the results that you're seeing. That's really encouraging to me, and I'm humbled to play a small part in that. Probably 99% of the credit needs to go to you and Diana, but that's a really cool hearing that it's working for you already that quickly.
Well, I definitely would not be where I am without Platform. Diana and I just had our meeting Tuesday, and I have 1.6 million in volume under contract directly or indirectly related to Platform. So you think about the percentage of that as a $5 million year.
Yeah.
Without Platform, there's no way I'm being anywhere close.
Yeah. So like you actually know the exact numbers of, were it not for Platform this year, your business would have shrunk probably 20 to 30 to maybe even 40%.
Quite possibly, yes, because I have other Platform people I'm working with now, so they're not under contract. So it's just very satisfying to have a way to scale my business, to grow it, and to still maintain my philosophy of helping people, because I've never been about the numbers, because if you take care of people, the business will come. Platform has given me a platform in which to do that and to reach more people. And that's what has just been so phenomenal with my experience so far. And I'm looking forward to a long relationship with Platform.
Well, Michelle, I hope I get to meet you at the mastermind this year. It's going to be in Naples, Florida, November 30th and December 1st, the annual Platform Marketing Mastermind. So I hope I get to meet you there, and I'm excited to hear where you end up this year, whether it's, 36 transactions, 39, 42, wherever you end up. That's incredible that you're able to achieve that even in the circumstances of this year. So thank you for your time and coming on the show. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Platform Marketing Show.
Thank you for having me.